My name's Tom Morris, and I'm the Artistic Director of the Bristol Old Vic. Obviously, we've just got the beautiful theatre back, and we are today launching our spring season for 2013. So in the season that we're announcing today, we have our first big international co-production, which is a version of Midsummer Night's Dream, which I'm working on with Basil and Adrian from Handspring Puppets. It's funded by an international consortium, which is exciting for us, obviously. It's exciting for Bristol, really, because it shows that we really can, in this city, make exciting world-class work by collaborating with global players. We don't have to just go through London. We can do it by ourselves, as lots of regional theatres now are thinking of doing. We don't yet know what the show will be, of course. We do know it'll have lots of puppets in it. One of the really important things about the play is that the fairies are a reality. They're not some sort of little pretty Victorian kind of watercolour painted nymphs that live at the bottom of a garden. They're powerful, they're dangerous, and they feel real to the people in the story. They're also magical, playful, naughty, transformative, and we're hoping to achieve all of those things in this production. The play's really sexy as well. It's full of people who fancy each other so wildly they can barely keep their clothes on. I don't know how we're going to deliver that, but it will have that flavour to it. And of course, at this moment, Adrian Kohler is carving away in his workshop in South Africa some of the puppets that we're going to be able to bring to this stage. And I've seen some of his photographs of them as he's working. I don't yet know exactly what they'll look like. There's a whole range of puppets in the show, but they will bring their own special magic to the production. The one thing I can say is it's not going to be anything like Warhorse. If you want to see Warhorse, you should go and see Warhorse. If you want to see something really different, hopefully exciting, genuinely experimental, and with luck, a little bit magical, then come and see Midsummer Night's Dream.
My name's Chloe Rickard, and I work for Kneehigh Theatre. We're going to be bringing 2 shows to Bristol Old Vic next year. The first is Steptoe & Son, written by Ray Galton and Alan Simpson. Emma Rice has taken 4 of the original episodes and weaved them into one show. It's about the relationship between a father and son, and at times is really moving and at times very funny. Emma's given it her own twist, and there's also a brilliant score which was designed by Simon Baker of music from the 60s and 70s. I think fans of Kneehigh shows will love it. It's different to The Red Shoes or The Wild Bride, but in a really good way. But it's still got the irreverence and cheekiness and humour and really moving moments woven in. And the second is A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings, which we're doing in association with the Little Angel Theatre in London we're putting on. A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings was originally a story by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. A very old man lands in a village and everyone's very surprised. And it's the story of what happens next. The Little Angel Theatre are a puppet theatre, and the puppets are beautifully made by the founding family of that company. It's got beautiful music, and I think adults will enjoy it just as much as children. Bristol's like a second home for us, and especially this theatre. Obviously Cornwall is our home, but we love coming to Bristol. The audiences here are always fantastic, and we've done some brilliant shows here over the years, like Red Shoes and Hansel and Gretel and The Wild Bride, and it's brilliant to be coming back to the reopened theatre.
My name is Miranda Cromwell, and I'm the Young Company Director at the Bristol Old Vic. Well, I've been at the Bristol Old Vic for 5 years working with the Young Company, and in that time I've been teaching lots of sessions, I've been making productions with them, and I've been constantly surprised by their enthusiasm and their commitment and the way that older members of the Young Company work with younger members of the Young Company to develop their own teaching practices and develop their own language of creating performance. So it's a really lovely community and company to be a part of. So we've been working on a production which involves the whole of our Young Company and over 120 performers on stage, as well as some invited adult company members as well. and it's called The Life After, and it explores loss and change in a huge ensemble. The production's been entirely devised by the cast, so all of the music, all of the movement, all of the storytelling. Some of it's based on folk stories, and a lot of it's based on also personal experience and memories, and through discussions about how we deal with death and loss. The production, because it's come out of the minds of lots of young people, is slightly off the wall. Involves like operatic goats and talking vegetables, and is a surprise at every turn. As part of celebrating the Young Company and the reopening of this theatre, we're putting on a festival called Spring, which is a celebration of some of the the best works that the Young Company have been involved in the past 2 years. So as part of the Life After, we're also performing The Grandfathers, which was an NT Connections play. The Grandfathers is an all-male cast, and it's about national conscription, which has been invited back to the National Theatre to perform at the Shed this summer as a production in its own right, which is the first time that's ever happened with a Young Company, which is exciting. And there's a show called 6 for 6, which is by 6-year-olds for 6-year-olds, completely devised. And there's also a show called Riot, which was made by our first year of Made in Bristol, which are a graduate company that have now become the Wardrobe Ensemble and have toured their production Riot. That is a comedy about a riot in IKEA to America, and have come back here again to our studio to perform that.
I'm Annabel Arden, and I'm directing the new show from Theatre to Complicity, which is called Lion Boy, which opens at the Bristol Old Vic. We're very delighted to make it our first venue. And it's a show which is for young audiences, but we hope also adult audiences. In fact, it really should appeal to everybody, because I like a kids' show that's for adults. Lion Boy, the eponymous hero of the novels, is a boy called Charlie Ashanti, and his father is from Ghana and his mother is from England, and they are both scientists. And Charlie, unlike almost everybody else in the world, although there are a few, Charlie can speak cat. And you will find out how he can speak cat in our show, and what happens to him because he can speak cat, and more importantly, what happens to his very, very clever scientist parents. Lion Boy is a show which is being devised and put together by a group of people. I'm directing it. We have Zizou Korda, who is the author of the 3 novels, Lion Boy. The actors, of course, also put an enormous amount into the show. That is characteristic of Complicity's work, because they have to create all sorts of extraordinary things out of nothing. We really wanted to concentrate a lot on storytelling in this show. So if you have seen some of Complicity's past shows, perhaps it will be a bit different in that we do tell a story very, very directly to the audience, which I think is very good for a young people's theatre. And there will be music in it. And I think the other important thing to say is that what's really special about Charlie Ashanti, the hero of the book, is that not only does he speak cat, and he has the huge task of rescuing his parents who have been kidnapped by the evil corporacy who manufacture drugs and are altogether emblematic of the seamier sides of capitalism, but Charlie actually also is a force for good in the world. So it's really a story about a child and his only friends, who are animals, against the world. Another interesting thing about Lion Boy, which I'm very excited about, is that we have a wonderful actor called Adetomiwa Edun, who is going to play Charlie Ashanti. Now, you may be familiar with Tomiwa, as he's known to us, because he was in the TV series Merlin, playing Elian, who's Gwen's brother, and he recently died, which is tragic for the series, but very good for us, because he can now come and be Charlie Ashanti. Complicity is a company that's now existed for quite a long time, I think about 30 years. And I'd say each one of our shows are really quite different. Many, many of our shows have been directed by Simon McBurney, my cherished colleague. And we started with the brief that we wanted to make theatre which was very physical, and theatre which would appeal to all kinds of people, would cross all kinds of barriers, language barriers also. In the beginning, when we started, we made fewer words, I'd say, with our shows. But now our shows integrate text and physical theatre and music and all kinds of visual spectacles. So It is difficult to say what a Complicity show is like, because they're all different. But we think that this one will appeal to anyone with a family.
I'm Kate McGrath, and I'm one of the co-directors of Fuel. Fuel sets out to make fresh work for adventurous people by inspiring artists, which means that we are looking to work with the most interesting contemporary theatre makers, often working across art forms and always trying to engage audiences in a different way, trying to give them a bit of an experience that they might not have otherwise. In March, we will be bringing Fuel Fest to Bristol Old Vic. Fuel Fest is made up of 3 different live performances. The Fringe First award-winning 14th Tale by Inoa Ellams, who previously brought Black T-shirt collection to Bristol Old Vic, as well as a return to Bristol from Make Better Please, which was a sold-out show here at Bristol Old Vic by uninvited guests, local artists. And finally, the first ever performances of a new piece by Will Adamsdale called Victorian in the Wall. As well as these shows, there will be an installation in the foyer of newly commissioned podcasts called While You Wait. And so you'll be able to come and see more than one show in an evening, and hopefully experience some of the most exciting contemporary artists making work in the UK.